I'm a Hindu, and when I first started reading about Buddhism, it felt like it was almost the same religion as Hinduism. But the more that I read of Buddhism, the more I realized that Hinduism and Buddhism are pointing in completely different directions. They are not the same. These two religions disagree on the most important aspect, the self. What is the self, and is the self eternal, or is the self impermanent? So who found these two religions? Buddhism was found by Siddhartha Gautama, an ancient Indian prince. He was said to have left everything behind to go pursue the meaning of life. Before he left everything, Siddhartha was known to have lived a life of comfort and luxury until he encountered problems such as old age, sickness, and death, and he suddenly started to wonder what was the meaning of everything. With Hinduism, there is no one single founder. It was developed over thousands of years by the insights of many sages. Hinduism evolved as a living tradition of inquiry and realization. Now we get to the interesting part. Who is God in Buddhism and Hinduism? So in Buddhism, there is no creator God. The only goal is to end suffering. With Hinduism, there are many paths that you can follow. We have many gods. We have gods like Vishnu, Shiva, and Devi. And most importantly, the impersonal, absolute reality called Brahman. So now we get to the part where Buddhism and Hinduism differ between each other greatly. In Buddhism, there is no permanent self or soul. The self is ever changing. Whereas in Hinduism, specifically Vedanta, the self is the Ātman, which is the eternal self, and it is ultimately one with Brahman, the absolute reality. To make this concept clear, we should first start off by defining what Buddhism and Hinduism call the self. Buddhism looks at everything that we normally call as me. So the body, thoughts, feelings, and consciousness. These are called the 5 aggregates, also known as the skandhas. And then it asks us one question. Are any of these aspects permanent? Are they independent? Or are they in control? Since the answer is no, and every possible candidate for the self is changing and impermanent, Buddhism concludes that there is no permanent self behind experience. So Buddhism defines the self as a temporary process, not an essence. This is called anattā or anattā, the not self. So the logic here is that not just the body is impermanent, but the fact that everything that could be taken as the self is impermanent. So therefore, the enduring self does not exist. Now let's come back to Hinduism. So what does Vedanta specifically define the self to be? Vedanta also examines everything that we usually call me, such as the body, mind, and thoughts. And it is agreed upon that these things are impermanent. But Vedanta goes out of its way and asks us one more question. What is aware that all of these things are changing? Vedanta says that there is an unchanging witness that observes the body and the mind. That witness is known as the Ātman, the eternal self. The body and the mind are not the self, but the awareness witnessing them is the self. To put both ideas together, Vedanta is based on the concepts called Ātman and Brahman, and it believes in this idea of the eternal self, whereas Buddhism denies the existence of the eternal self. Buddhism stops when no self is found, and Vedanta continues until the self is discovered. Now, what is the problem of life according to both religions? Buddhism says that the main problem of life is suffering caused by craving and ignorance, whereas Hinduism says that the main problem of life is bondage caused by ignorance of the true self. According to Buddhism, we suffer in life because we crave for things like pleasure, identity, and security. And we want all of these things to keep lasting. And this craving itself comes from ignorance, which is not realizing that these things are impermanent, and believing that there's a solid self to protect. So craving and ignorance cause suffering. If you end craving, your suffering also ends. In Hinduism, the problem is bondage. Bondage is feeling limited, incomplete, or fearful because we haven't realized our true self. We're also said to be trapped in ego and the cycle of birth and death. This happens because of ignorance, where we don't realize our true self and we mistake the body and the mind for the self. So ignorance of the true self causes bondage. If you know the self, your bondage ends. What is the path to liberation according to both religions? Buddhism focuses on the Eightfold Path, which is made up of ethics, meditation, and wisdom, whereas Hinduism has multiple paths, which is devotion, knowledge, action, and meditation. Buddhism has one structured path for everyone. Hinduism has many paths depending on the person, but they all lead to the same thing. The final goal of both religions is Buddhism wants nirvana. Hinduism wants moksha. Nirvana is the end of suffering, craving, and rebirth. Moksha is realizing the true self, knowing that the Ātman is Brahman, and getting freedom from rebirth through knowledge. In Buddhism, freedom comes by ending suffering. And in Hinduism, freedom comes by knowing who you really are. As a Hindu, I practice both jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, sometimes raja yoga, which is devotion, knowledge, and meditation. What I really appreciate about Hinduism is that we have so many paths that we can take to get closer to God. While following jnana yoga, I feel that I'm learning more about my true self. And while I do bhakti yoga, I feel that I'm letting go of everything, of my ego, of my limitations, of my fear. And while I do Raja Yoga, I feel that I'm able to self-inquire and try to think to myself and realize who I truly am. I get a little bit closer to that blissful state that is described as Brahman. I'm fascinated by Buddhism because suffering is something that we all go through. It is not something that is easy to let go. We cling to ideas of ourselves. We cling to people. We cling to identity. We cling to this aspect of certainty. We want to be in control, but everything changes. And this is a very practical thing to apply to our everyday lives. I differ in my personal belief because I believe in a permanent witness that is behind all of these experiences that we go through. But I really do resonate with how Buddhism explains suffering as craving, attachment, and the sense of dissatisfaction that we all feel every single day. I mean, we all kind of want a way out of this because we don't want to feel this way. Like, I don't feel at peace when I feel that way, when I feel that literally things keep changing and I just want some control over my life, decisions. I want everything to be the same once I feel that it's going good. Buddhism does describe the human condition with a lot of honesty. And I feel that every one of us can resonate with that. And at the end of the day, both traditions are responding to the one question: why do we suffer? And of course, how can we be free? So to conclude, what matters the most here is if a teaching can reduce your suffering and help bring some clarity into your life. I hope that whoever watched this video took a lot out of it. I hope that you now know the difference between Buddhism and Hinduism. And if you feel yourself aligned with one pathway, please look into it. Please read about it. Please set yourself free from suffering or bondage or however you would like to look at it. Because both traditions are beautiful. Both traditions have amazing values that we can all take something from. I approach every religion and tradition with an open mind, and I try to take something away from it. And I'm always open to new ideas because at the end of the day, my goal is to set myself free from this bondage and suffering of life. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you want more content on religion, spirituality, and Hinduism, please like my video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you.